Oh, we're live.
Yeah.
I was just drinking my drink and I was like, looked up and it was like, you are live. I was like, actually, we're live. Hello.
I didn't do the countdown.
No, normally.
Good morning. Also, what is this cute little jumper you've got on?
I bought this off Sheridan like about 2 years ago on one of his whatnot. It's just like a fleece jumper with a teddy bear on it. No idea.
It's quite cute.
It's Brook Lodge or something. It's like an American like
It
fleece.
looks like it's like toweling, but I guess it's a fleece.
Yeah, it's more of a fleece, but yeah.
Lovely. Good morning, everybody. How's our weekend been? Morning, Tash, that looks like Chris. Morning, Andy. How we doing? It's fine. What is it? The 23rd. I had back to back. I was trying to remember because my mum's birthday on Saturday, and also it was Mother's Day the week before. And
you have it as well. So my mum's birthday is on the 18th.
Oh, it's yours.
And so it was like what? So I think it was like Sunday, Wednesday. Is it like was Mother's Day Wednesday?
My mum's was Mother's Day was Sunday.
Yeah,
and then my mum's birthday was Saturday.
Oh, so my mum's birthday was Wednesday, and my mum's on Mother's Day was Sunday. So yeah, we have a very similar
double dip as well.
Yeah, I have to fuck around with that. As well.
Back to back, you're like, oh, gotta get 2 cards, gotta have whatever. Now,
but apparently you can't treat it the same as somebody having a birthday and a Christmas in the same week, where you just give them one present and be like, shut up.
Just in case mom's listening, it was obviously a pleasure to do. I was so happy to go back. Thank you. Deserve it both weeks. Thank you.
Yes, of course. And my mum won't be listening, so fuck you, pain in the ass.
Good morning. Good morning. Morning, Tommy. Morning, Xander. Morning, Reese. Oh, there you go. Mum said quite right. But yeah, how we are here today. I mean, today I think mostly we're talking about. Obviously, last week we talked about vintage bands, which are still rife, by the way. Oh, Crystal's in from Africa. Hell yeah!
I wonder what time it is over there.
Yeah, what is the time over there, Crystal? They shouldn't be crazy different because they're reasonably straight down.
I've never understood, by the way, the reason for the time difference. I've never looked at it and gone, "Oh, it's bigger difference because of this." I don't know what the actual factors are.
Okay, it's 2 hours are going to be missed.
2 hours.
It's broken into like straight lines, vertical lines across the world. So the more round you are, the bigger the time difference a lot of the time.
Oh, okay. That actually makes perfect sense. Yeah.
That's why America's got like 5 because it like spans so wide. So it just like they're like chunky.
Oh, that's why. Because I always wondered, like, I was like, who's the idiot that did this? Like, I thought somebody just made up the time zones. I was like, why would one side of the country be 11 and the other one be like 6?
It's cool because of the sun, right? Like they're all trying to get
It makes perfect sense, but I'm an idiot, so I didn't.
Anyway, enough education for Chris.
Absolutely.
It's cool that you're from Africa. I hope it's going well over there so far, and you should be realistically having a break from reselling. But
I just wanted to point out, by the way, she put on Instagram the other day, welcome back to Africa, and it's just got a sign that says beware of carjacking. I was like, yay! Welcome home. Go on. I was just going to say, so basically, I thought it was super interesting, and this is something that I wanted to touch on very, very briefly, which is like the consistency of life and what we do is so insane, right? Like, yeah, I know, but so on Saturday, right? It's been the first Saturday car boot that I've been able to get to weather-wise and stuff like that, right? I went there, and I'm going to be brutally honest. My car boot on Saturday was absolutely shite, right? I think I picked up like 3 things. It was awful. Sunday, picked up loads of good things, heaters everywhere, made like probably, I spent less than 60 quid, and I'm going to make over $1,000 probably. Like, and it's genuinely just so baffling to me how one day can go from so bad instantly into so
what
good.
What did you buy?
I bought a brand new in-box Yamaha AV receiver, but it's a modern
little stack of 4 from your contact. Or
yeah, so it's got Bluetooth, it's got Wi-Fi, it's got all of the snazzies, right? That will sell for like free. I think the last used one sold for 330. So there's potential to go big on that. There was also another Yamaha unit, which I haven't tested, but if working, that's another 250 to 300 pounds. And then I had multiple DVD, VHS rewrite recorder things. And usually they're like, if you've got half decent brand like Panasonic or anything like that, they're 100 quid a pop. So like there's just money coming out of it like crazy. It baffles me sometimes, like, because I'm the sort of person, like, you wouldn't believe this, Benji, but I'm the sort of person that when I have a bad day, I get really pissed off with myself about how shit I am at life. And then the next day when I have a great one, I'm the best person in the world, right? You wouldn't believe this, obviously, because you know me well. But on Saturday, I was like, what am I even doing? Like, why do I even do? I'm just going to go and fill in my CV, get my shit to, like, do you know what I mean? And then Sunday, I'm rocking around the car boot, like, yeah, what you saying? It's really interesting how much I live and breathe.
No one can touch me. The best to ever do it.
Yeah, super random, but I just thought it was super interesting. And I recorded a reel for the reseller group yesterday, which kind of touched on this very sort of like notion that the consistency and everything like that is such a big thing in what we do, because one day can be the best thing in the world, and the next day, like literally within a 10-day span, you can have one of your worst days of the year. So I genuinely think it's super interesting.
I agree. Right, it's massively up and down. Like my last week on eBay was super good, and every day was like, for eBay alone was like a 200 and something pound day, combined with Vinted, which was mean I was like having pretty consistent like 400 to 600 pound days for me, which is solid. And then this week on eBay has been like like just little dribbles coming in. But I mean, mine was actually kind of similar. So in terms of what the point of the podcast is, obviously, we talked about Vinted last week, and like I said, bans are still rife. They're still throwing them out there. So again, be careful, be wary, and be prepared. I think more than anything, like I don't think like if they're handing them out willy nilly, then
there is no consistency to their banning, so therefore you can't be prepared in the sense of like not doing what they want you to do. But make sure you've got backup plans consistently, because you
need to be prepared to shift quick or pivot or to do something else when that does happen, because they're just not consistent at all and doing what they want. So definitely look out for that. But obviously last week me and Chris both had lots of stuff going on, but we actually just talked about Vinted instead. So this week it's our turn.
We're going to talk about us.
In terms of, I think both of us generally have taken big steps forward in our business, and should both of us should be moving to a significantly better place and have a lot change by the end of the year. I'd say realistically, right? Like, I mean, I'm super excited to see where I'm at, and obviously you've now got the space to kind of introduce as many things as you want realistically. So we both should, and I mean, hold us to it, but don't be in very interesting places by the end of the year.
Which is fascinating to me, because apparently there is evidence of me on the internet saying that I wasn't going to change this year and everything was going to be
3 bits of video evidence of you saying, yeah, I'm actually just going to do the same thing for the entire year this year. I'm not going to change anything, just stack up cash. And within, I don't know, obviously Tash is in here. I don't know, within a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, he was like, actually, I've thought about this.
Yeah, story of my life, that one.
I mean, it's super interesting though to see you go into it, like electronics. Obviously, you're getting really like excited about it now, and you've got contacts coming at the car boot and stuff like that. So I'll be interested how much you switch over there and how many processes you get in place to kind of manage.
I've had multiple people, two that are very much on the higher scale of what we do. And those two people have both privately messaged me and said that I would be massively surprised if by the end of this year, even doing clothing, like by the end of the year, because of the way that the electronics and stuff goes. My argument is always, why wouldn't I? Because if in my head, right, if I can process and photograph, Jesus, and source, because a lot of the electronics would be sourced in bulk, right? So if I can test and picture 20 a day, and Tasha can buy, source, and picture and process 20 bits of clothing a day, there is no reason to stop doing the clothing, especially because I would then be able. So what might change is that I might go, because the aim at the moment is 20 electrics, 20 clothing, right? Like that's kind of where we want to go. And then why wouldn't I do that? The only thing that might change is that I could say to Tasha, like, with the clothing side of things, let's focus on the 10 to 15 pound into, I don't know, say like 45, 55 pound and above, right? And try and get like a higher margin. So maybe we try and get 10, which is way more feasible of those items, and then we do less work but make the same amount of profit as we were doing with the 20 listings. But obviously doing that 20 times a day is more difficult. So maybe we switch a little bit and just use our clothing knowledge to our advantage and just be a little bit smarter and work less but better. I don't really know. I don't know how. I genuinely don't know what the direction I want to go in, other than I know that the electronics is such a big part. And the fascinating thing for me is that with clothing, if you buy something that you don't know, like say for instance, you buy something and it's got a sneaky hole in there, right? The value of that item is either 0 or minimal, right? But then, like, I was looking yesterday, and the second Yamaha, not the new one, but the second Yamaha sells for about £300. But if it doesn't work, it sells for 150.
I mean, so this is something that Hanley's said before, right? And when we've asked her about her niche, and Hanley doesn't actually like she pays them. The thing she actually knows and says all the time is, my items are inherently valuable. Like, just like no matter what I pick up, realistically, they have like an inherent value to them aside from like their use. Like a car part generally will never not be useful because someone will need it, or it can be like obviously some things you can scrap, but they're like inherently valuable. And I think the electronic side of things is the same, right? Yeah. Although obviously yours is slightly different in terms of inherent value. Like in her side, someone will have this car and need a part at some point, right? Whereas yours is literally just for the bits involved in it. And the fact that, again, it almost like a parts front, you could basically have a parts, like multiple parts in that one broken thing. It is inherently valuable because someone's item might break and you have like the thing that can fix it. So I think electronics, unlike clothing does not have inherent value. Like what sort of, like, I mean, you could say like the rag, but it doesn't.
It has to be cashmere, where like even if it's got holes in it, you get enough of it, you can sell it to somebody who makes gloves or crafts scarves or whatever it is, right? Like there is a very small amount of items that have an inherent value.
That reminds me, I should add that to my business. But yeah, so I think that's a big thing with the electronics. I think the things with the electronics is that there's two things, right? One, I think you'll run into two things. The reason I think everyone says, "Oh, I'd be surprised if you don't go over to this," is because you only have so much time in the day. Yeah. And if electronics is clearly more profitable and you're making far more money, then you'd want to put more time into the thing that's working and less time into the thing that's not. Like, so like in terms of like money per hour, efficiency, I think all the big players are like, wait till he gets going and figures it out. Like this will be clearly it'll be a no-brainer realistically. Yeah. But I think the other side of it, which will be quite interesting, is the space efficiency, because realistically, clothing is super space efficient, like massively space efficient. You could, in that place, if you just did clothes, you could fit like 10,000 items, if not more.
I would, yeah. I would argue you could probably fit like 20 to 30k in clothing, maybe even more. Like genuinely, like if you crammed it all in, you could probably get like maybe 50k's worth of clothing in there if you were super efficient.
So like that is ridiculous in terms of compared to probably how many receivers you can fit in there, right? So I think it's going to be very interesting to look at like the time value of it. I think that's something you're going to really have to track, because I feel like obviously you can do like 10 bits of electronics at the same time. You might be able to do 30 or 20 to 30 pieces of clothing, right? In terms of the processing time and everything like that.
Yeah.
So seeing which one, but then obviously the electronics can be super highly profitable and that one electronic can make you 10 times what the one piece of clothing can. So I think it'd be really, really interesting to track like the numbers properly, check all your time frames, like probably like do time audits and see how long each thing takes you and where that lands you. Because even on the other side of things, right? Like, but then also you've got to factor in the clothing, the sourcing time. So, for example, you might lose time processing and listing, but gain time sourcing because you don't have to go to as many places or spend all day on Vinted. Like, I think it's actually so interesting. I'm excited.
Well, the one thing that I came across yesterday that was super interesting for me, at least, was that if I see a piece of clothing where I've missed a hole, my thought is never, let me go and sew this hole up.
Yeah,
right? But with the electronics, for some reason, I don't know whether it's an inherent interest or like I'm fascinated by it, or the fact that like I went to college and did mechanics and I've always been very much like fixie with my hands, like type thing, right? Like I quite like the idea of doing that sort of thing. I fixed my van.
Oh, like a good way to put it, fixie with my hands.
Yeah. I fixed my van like on the driveway and all this sort of stuff. I quite like the idea of doing it, but I'm finding myself like opening items up like electronics and going, oh, what can I see where the circuit's blown? Maybe I can fix this. Maybe I can do that. I even spoke to Tash yesterday. I was like, I'm going to buy a soldering iron. I'm going to get some solder. Like, and again, if that is the difference between 150 and 300 pounds, like it's doable. If it's the difference between 20 and 50, it might be one of those ones where I just have to have a set in my mind where I don't go past like X amount or whatever. And I think that's really interesting to me because again, even if there's a slight stain, the best I will do is run a baby wipe over it and be like, it's not coming out, picture gone, and I'll do it as is, right?
So I actually completely get you because I like fiddling with stuff as well. But I think the big difference is the again, one, the intrigue of it, right? Like sewing something up. For some people, it's really therapeutic, actually.
Exactly, yeah. There's
some
maybe people just doesn't go for that.
Yeah, but Becca, I don't know who it was that spoke in the group that was like, I like doing the fixing. Like they'll just sit there and fix the things, and they enjoy sewing up, which is probably the same as what you're saying. But I think the big thing, right, is the inherent value change. Like it goes from like
there's a guy called English Thrifter.
Double the value versus like add a bit on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, English Thrifter Dan on Insta. He lives in New York at the moment, and he's like English or whatever, but he does a lot of electronics, and I'm always fascinated because like, so for instance, you know, like the vintage tape decks, you know, the black knob that spins around and moves the deck around to play it, right? They're on rubber bands, but because they're vintage, they perish and they snap, right?
Yeah.
And he's got like band kits, and he'll like replace that because that is the difference between selling it for £30 or £100. And in his head, like he might not be able to get 25 items a day and list 25 items a day, but he's going to damn well make sure that he gets the most amount of value out of every single item, regardless. So if you're listing 5 to 10 a day, I think it's a way more valuable tool to fix a lot of the items. But then if you're trying to get to 25 listings a day in just electronics or 20 listings,
there will be a point where it
makes it really difficult to keep it up.
So this is actually quite interesting because I actually have something similar to this that's not the same at all. And so basically, I had a lot of stuff in over the last couple of days, right? And a big pile of it is bobbly cashmere, right? And the difference for me is not a crazy amount of money realistically in terms of bobbling it, slash debobbling it, but I think it in terms of sell-through rate and everything like that, and the value I could get for it, it goes up if I can debobble it. But I know that one, it will interrupt my process. Like so, if I put it in my stack and I have to debobble in between doing my stuff, that it's going to interrupt my process, and that's just going to be annoying. So if I have a certain time frame that I want to photograph in, I don't want the stuff to be in the stack that's going to slow me down. So realistically, I want to put this to the side, and I'm like,
you have to dedicate the time to do it, and this is one of the most difficult things.
So this is the interesting thing. My mum.
Oh god, here we go. You're going to make her do it.
I was wondering because she's been offering to help, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "I don't really have anything for her to. I haven't had anything for her to do." But this is like, I was like, okay, this makes perfect sense. If I have someone come in and like just have all of this stuff prepped whilst I'm doing the other stuff, and it keeps turning, then it becomes really worthwhile because that stack will get done. I've got I've got probably like 10 jumpers or something in there. Or more, which in some of them are particularly debobbled or particularly bobbly, and then having that all come to me and then just ready to go whilst I'm still working is really good. And obviously that is a very low level of it, and I would never have someone come in particularly to just do that alone in my work. But for you, it probably would be worthwhile having someone come in to fix something per hour, because you could pay them like what I don't know however much it would probably cost. It would probably be more than minimum wage, I'm assuming.
But people don't know what they're doing with it. The greatest thing, the greatest difference between what my problem and yours is that although I feel like it would be more difficult, Like there is pretty much a video on how to fix pretty much anything, like on any item on YouTube. Like for me, like if I'm going through and like, oh, this band snapped on this hi-fi player, I type it into YouTube and there will be something the same or very similar, and it will just make it super easy. Whereas like stitching a hole, I feel like inherently you just have to learn that ability. But once you've learned it, like it's a completely different thing. Like it's super easy.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to stop you.
Do it while she's watching the TV at home. You don't have to get her in to do it. Just bring it home. Let her watch TV, do some debobbling, watch EastEnders.
I did. That was my original plan, but I need the debobbler also. So I need
another one.
I know. I already decided this yesterday.
I've got 4, and they're all in the same place.
I've got 1, and I need to get a better one, so I might send that one home and get the bigger one for here. Because actually, if I'm gonna
no, buy 2 bigger ones. You keep one. You let your mum have one. If she's doing you a favor, make sure she gets a good debobbler.
True. We want to well equipped for the job.
You don't want it with the little one doing this and going, actually, Ben, you know, you can do it your bloody self, mate. I can't be asked for this.
But yeah, so I think it'd be worthwhile for you to look at that, right? Because if you can pay him less than however extra much value he's earning per hour, right? So depending on how quickly he works, if he only does one thing an hour and he costs, you know, £18 an hour or something like that, and you're only making extra 30 quid, then maybe even still it's probably worth it. But finding someone like that to fill those boots and do that job, I think for electronics is very worthwhile.
I'm pretty confident there are some places that that do like a lot of refurbishments. So for instance, a really interesting fact that I learned semi-recently was that Salvation have just signed a deal with Currys where they give all of their broken stuff to Currys. Currys then refurbish it and then they sell it on their own eBay store, which is a really interesting concept. So there is probably a way for me to bulk, but I'd imagine you'd have to get like a ton of broken electronics before you could sell it to a company like that or whatever, or give it to a company. Like there's always an outlet for everything, right? And I'm pretty sure Jay was saying in the group actually that there's like they use like minute little bits of gold in some of the like circuit boards and stuff, and some other precious metals or some metals that are important. So if you have a vast amount of them, like you probably could sell them, not for a huge amount of money, but you could definitely sell them. So it's just working out. Like we spoke about it loads, and a lot of people always talk about getting rid of the crap that you don't want, especially when you're doing a bulk method. You need to. There are some things that just aren't worthy of your time for whatever reason, and that's just the hard bit at the moment is really sort of navigating it. And then also there's I've got something else to talk about in a second. But yeah, so navigating, just working out, like obviously with clothing, like I know what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do. It's just working that out now with electronics. But I feel like I'm being pushed into a deeper territory at the moment. Don't get me wrong, 6 months in, I'll probably be like, nah, I don't want to do this.
Speaking of working it out, I'm going to jump over to my side for a bit. Because, and that's actually, what do you want to get to?
Oh, so my neighbor, my next door neighbor in the unit, he came round the other day when we were building tables and introduced himself, George, I think, and it was super interesting because he's got like pallet racking and stuff, right? He has boxes, he has like random bits of pieces on the shelves, and me and Tasha drive past, right, and they've got the shutter doors open, and we're like, what does this guy do? Because like he's sending parcels out, right? Anyway, comes round. He is a fulfillment center. Like part of his job is to do fulfillment. And it was really interesting because I was like, oh, I'm getting into the electronics and stuff. And he was like, well, you know, further down the line, if you're interested, basically like you would just send us an order sheet. Like, so basically I could store all the electronics that is in his unit, right? I could then pay for the storage and everything. And every time something sells, he would ship it for me. So it's like a weird little fulfillment, because I said, oh, I do Amazon and I do eBay and Vinted and stuff, and he was like, yeah. He goes, basically what happens is people store stuff with us. When it sells, they send us the sheet, we print out all the labels, we do all of the work, and then to ship it out for the customer.
How big is their warehouse?
So that's only one of them, and they've got other strings to their like business, so it's not just a fulfillment thing. But yeah, like they said it's one part of their business, and they get really busy for like certain periods of I'm assuming like Christmassy times and people doing that sort of stuff. But yeah, like it was really interesting. So I'm probably gonna try and bump into him. Well, not bump into him, but go and say hello again, and maybe get into a bit more information and just have a little chat with him, because I'm super interested by that business. I think it's quite fascinating.
That is really interesting.
And again, if I get too big, like if I get too much, like I could just offset a lot of stuff to him and just let him deal with it.
To understand how much he charges per thing and stuff like that. And because you'd have to, that's really interesting. Actually, I'd love to see what fees he charges on that, and you'd find out a bit more about how that works.
Yeah.
But anyway, going back to my side of things quickly. So you're saying working it out. So I've been doing a lot of working it out, and for anyone that doesn't know, I changed the way I source completely. And basically, the gist of it is everything comes into me through the post from people all around the country, generally speaking. And it's been super interesting working it out. So I was actually very delayed, right? So I started this, and my goal was to replace my current or my 10 a day by the end of the last year, right? And that didn't happen. Like it took a lot longer to work out and get going than I expected, in terms of getting that number of things in. For one reason or another, some of the processes took longer to get together. Some of the other things took longer to get together. Anyway, I was like, oh no, I'm behind. And now, in the space of, this is what you're saying earlier, right? In terms of how things change about being consistent. From last month to even last week to this week, or the week before to this week, suddenly I'm like, got all the stuff in. And suddenly it's rolling really.
Is that do you think would you put that down to a seasonal, like a slight seasonal change? Obviously, we're probably late in that seasonal change, but do you think people have started to like maybe do that, and that's the reason why it's picked up really quickly?
So obviously, this is something I'm gonna have to find out about, depending on when spring comes, everyone changes. When summer comes, everyone will change. When winter comes, everyone will change. When autumn comes, everyone will change. And I don't know if it will come in dribs and drabs like that. Or if it, depending on how many people I've got on board, it will just be throughout the year. Someone will always be clearing something out. I don't know is the answer, but I don't feel like that is this. What I do feel like this is the people that I've stacked people on top of each other, right? Like I'm working with more people, and now that I've got enough of those people, they all seem to be doing something at some point. And again, I don't know if they will stop. And it will die off. But for now, so for example, in the last week, I think I had to sell. I've got. Let me actually get my spreadsheet up just to make sure I'm not lying. That's over here. So in the last week, I've had from just sources, I've had 105 items come in for me to sell. I mean, total, I've had.
What's that over?
Last week. That's last week.
So it's more than 10 a day at this point for that.
Pretty much 15 a day, I think. Yeah. Right, that would be. And that's out of this. In total, I got sent 328 items. And then in terms of stuff that's recirculated, so obviously you're talking about outlets for things. I've got 130 things to move up to pass around.
So what's that? 50% hit rate?
So it's about a third, more like it. So it's 105 right out of 100. So it's like a third of the items. But it's interesting because some of them, right, come in and it's like all of them are good. Then yesterday I went through 149 items from one person, and then I kept 46, and obviously all the rest get distributed. So again, it's just under probably a third, right, for her. But then someone.
You're doing like 25% hit rate is, I would imagine, pretty decent in terms of like the actual stuff that you can put on the main stuff. And then I'd imagine there's probably another 15% that would be like the lower end stuff that you've got that bucket for anyway. So yeah, that's quite interesting.
Yeah, so it's been really interesting. But again, it's instantly been like, okay, I need to get a lot of things sorted. Like in my head, I was already sorting a load of things. I needed to get them done. But now I'm like, okay, now I really, really need to get stuff sorted, because, for example, even just the other day, I like half did an order that came in, and I sorted through it, and I had the stuff I needed to price up, but then I left it there overnight, and then the next morning it was stacked there, but I had another 12 bags come in, And then I was like, okay, well, I need to make sure that this tells me I don't start the one order unless I can finish it to then move it on to the next bit, so it's not in the way. And then obviously I've got my car boot lady coming tomorrow. I've got like, I don't even know how many items here, to be honest with you. There's like just bags of stuff that need to be taken by her. And then like donating to charity and all this sort of thing. It's been really interesting, but it's gone from not working to rolling really hard. And it's made me super excited. I'm not going to lie to you. And even like people coming on board, right? I don't know how many I've got.
This is what we said though, right? Like, is it may take a little bit of time, and you don't want to overextend yourself by getting too many people in, because you don't know when it pops off, like how much you're actually going to get. So I feel like this is where the slowly catching monkeys kind of worked, because you've onboarded X amount and you're like, I don't know. And I'm like, you need to get more. And then it's like, well, actually, if they start sending me stuff, I'm not going to have time to do anything. So it's actually come to fruition now, which is quite interesting. And it'll be interesting to see how you can. I'm fascinated. So likewise, I'm fascinated with you in terms of like how you're going to be able to get everything processed, what things are going to become an issue. I'm super interested just as we move forward with it.
So one thing that became an issue, right, is I went to the parcel shop, and you know that like I had 12 bags, like
they're big bags,
like completely full, like this size, that have about 15 to 20 items. I think I picked up 150 items from the shop, and this is just a normal parcel shop. And I was like, I need to fix this. And I hold on.
The bags are wham, to be fair. They are very big.
He gave me, this is his. This is from their parcel shop. This is what they put their parcels in, right? Which is it's just a normal bag, right? And he was like, okay, put them in there, because I was carrying 4 IKEA bags of stuff back. I was carrying 4 IKEA bags the day before when I had 10. And then I was like, okay, 12 I don't think will fit in 4 IKEA bags. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And I was literally waddling up the street. I was like, because I'm probably, I don't know how far, like 50 to 75 meters from the shop. So it's really not far. But when you're carrying 4 IKEA bags of stuff and you're waddling along, it's stupid. And then I had that bag with like,
you need 9. A trolley trolley.
I had 9 in that bag, right? And I slung it over my shoulder. I was like, Santa's sack. And I was like, what? Like, I'm waddling up the street. Like, so what I realized, one is I can't send 12 bags to this shop. Like, although they did really well, they literally just like made a space on top of, like the refrigerated drink section.
Yeah.
Space up there, and they stacked them all on top of each other, next to each other. And then the guy came in, he started laughing at me. He was like, what the hell is this? And I was like, yeah, I know, man. So I was like, okay, I need to change this. So obviously I've been looking at how to get stuff delivered closer to me. And conveniently, there is a thing next door, which is a business center, right? So it's basically not like a council one, but like a company sort of one. And so anyone can come in and rent the space to run their business out. Like there's accountants in there, there's like property stuff in there, there's whatever, right? It's actually really nice on the inside. But they do virtual offices. So I was going to have to broker a deal with them and like put maybe like, like a clothing donations bin outside. I'd be like, oh, would you mind if I like rent some space out here and like they can deliver stuff? I was like, oh, do you guys take deliveries? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, oh, nice. And she's like,
you explained to them what they would be taking?
Yes, I have. I was like, okay, what like limits do you have on it? Because like and she's like, I mean, we've got these people in here, these people. I was like, so if I was to get like, 20 bags delivered or 20 bin bag size things delivered, how would you feel about that? She's like, yeah, it's all right, as long as you come and collect them like quick.
Yeah.
If you let like them all stack up here and it's blocking everyone's way, then we're gonna have an issue. And I was like, no, I'd come every day and get them from the office.
I'm next door.
I'm on the other. It's literally I've got an alleyway to my left, and there's a building, and it's the other side of that building. So it's literally like if I walk out, it's 10 meters. And I think I'm probably gonna. But yeah, I was planning on delaying that a little bit. I was like, okay, we'll see how many we get in and what we deal with, and then we'll move over. And I think it's £45 plus VAT to rent to be a virtual office there, which is fine, right?
in terms of just the ease, I'd be paying that all day long.
Yeah. So, and depending on how many parcels I come in, it's just been like that. It doesn't really matter. It will become quite inconsequential, like in terms of depending on how much I have in per month, right? Because I think I had near 30 last week, and then if I have that 120, like 50 quid isn't really, it doesn't really make a difference. Obviously, it does over time, but whatever. It's the more I scale, it actually gets less matters less. But yeah, so I was like, when I picked up the 12, I was like, I need to switch my address now because I know one of my people has 20 bags to send to me this week, and I'm like, that would be ridiculous. Even just ferrying it myself. Forget looking after the shop because I feel bad about that. Ferrying 20 that far is ridiculous. What I think I'm gonna get is the thing they used to like lift fridges, like the trolley they used to lift fridges.
I've got one of those. Yeah.
I'm gonna get one of those, and I'm gonna attach like a big IKEA, an Amazon thing to it with some like straps, and that's what I'm gonna use to drag stuff around. But yeah, so I've had to move that over there.
I've got a question for you. How do you feel when you're opening the bags, right? Because there's part of me, right? So as you're walking around the charity shop, right? I spend a lot of my time at charity shops just being miserable because the hit rate is like 1 in like 250 items for me, at least where I go, right? Like it's so tough to actually find something that's good, and then the hit rate on that is halved again by how much it costs and whether it's the right style, etc. So when you're going through the bags and you've got all this stuff, like how do you actually feel? Because there's a part of like me that even now, like even when I go to the car boot, like even yesterday, right, I was finding those, like I was getting those Yamaha bits and all of this sort of stuff, and I don't feel any type of way other than that'll make some good money. Like in my head, I'm just going, that'll make some good money. That'll be about that. And I paid £25 for things that are going to potentially make me £1,000, and I had no emotional reaction or like there was no dopamine hit. There was nothing, and I don't know whether that's because I'm fallen out of love with reselling or whether it just becomes a monotony. So with this type of thing, I feel like there's more of a dopamine hit because you never know what you're going to get. And I don't know. I just feel like you'd feel slightly different about it.
Chris, it's like doing mystery unboxings every day. It's like I'm opening packs. it's
what I'm saying. It reminds me of the Pokemon packs. Like, you're only going to get 1, maybe 2 good cards, but like, you'll just spend fucking fortune and spend all the time doing it.
It's so okay. It's similar. So okay, especially at the moment, it will lose its touch, right?
Yeah, of course.
It will lose its newness, and it will be going through it. But right now, because I don't know what I'm gonna get, like I don't know the standard of anything. Like I don't know what's coming through my door at all. I don't know where it's gonna land. That first bag, when I open whatever set of bags I've got, when I open the first bag, sets the tone, and I'm like,
ooh. Do you have when you go through a rail at the car boot and the first rail's dog shit, right? And you're like, oh, I'm not. Do I even bother with the second bag? Like, do you get that feeling, or do you go, oh,
I'm just gonna be sorting through stuff. This is gonna be dead. But honestly, I think that's only happened once. There's only been one bundle where I've genuinely got nothing.
Is that the one where it got lost as well?
Yes.
The one that was to cause the most
trouble, and probably might mean that a person did work with me again because of how long it took to get here, thanks to not my fault at all.
If all their stuff was bad, it doesn't really matter if they work with you again, does it?
I mean, yeah, but the thing is with these people, right? They go from different person to different. They don't know what they're going to get. Obviously, there's certain people, they work with certain people sometimes, and that means that they get certain stuff in. But they don't know what they're looking at a lot of the time when they're going to be sending stuff to me. So it's whatever floats your boat. But when I open the first bag and I see something good in there, I'm like, oh, we could be in for a good one. Like yesterday, I got this. I'll see.
I love how the podcast turns into a show and tell every now and then. It's great.
So I got this in one of my first bags.
Okay, Bennett. Is that what they call? Was it Rouge or what did they call it?
This is Boucle.
Boucle, that's the one. I knew it was something fancy. Boucle.
And I was like, okay, we're gonna be onto a little something. because this is better than I thought as well. This is like called the Charlie, and the newer version I think it's called the Charl, and they sell for like I saw Kate sell the Charl, which is the new version, for 85, and this version goes for like 50 to 70. But that came in, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a good. And that was when I had 12 bags to look through.
Interestingly, then, sorry, I'm gonna keep going off in little tangents as my brain goes. So as you see that item, so you say, for instance, that's your first bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're 4 items deep, 5 items deep, and then you see that. What is the process from that point? Like, what do you actually do?
In terms of like how I literally sort through stuff.
Yeah, because in my head, like I've watched, again, they're for YouTube videos, but I've watched people do like storage containers where they'll empty a full storage container. They'll see something they like and they'll comp it and they'll work out whether it's good. And the idea is for a YouTube video, that makes sense because you're giving the audience. But like in my head, you're sat there going, oh, this is like Google Lens, working it out like one at a time. Whereas in my head, it should be, it goes into piles and then you work it out afterwards.
So that's exactly what I do, right? I open the bag, I have my keep pile, my donate pile, my recirculate pile, and my low tier pile.
Do you have a pile that is like, I have no fucking clue?
They will just go in my keep pile. It's more like a lookup pile. Okay, so this is stuff that I either know is worth something or that I want to look into finding out if it's worth something. Yeah. So I have that pile, and I basically, the process actually is I'll have the bag on my right, rip it open, pull the first item out, look what it is. If I instantly know if it's valuable, depending what pile it's going to go in, then basically, regardless of what it is, I have to do a quick check on it to look for marks or holes or stains. Yeah. Obviously, I work with my car boot contacts, and I don't want to be giving them stuff that's fucked. So I have to check it regardless and see if it's got marks or anything on it, which is obviously I do a quick check. I basically put it. I've got like a newer light that hangs over. I run it one way, I run it the other way, and then I put it into whatever pile it needs to go into. If it's got a mark, then I give it a quick rub with a baby wipe just to see if it will come off, so I know where it's going to land for me. Because that obviously could impact if it's going to be saleable or not. And then that gets put into one of the four piles or 5 piles. And then after I'm done, I'll take my laptop over there, which is why I was there in one of the calls the other day, and I'll sit there and I'll work through my look through pile, and I'll basically either put that into keep and put the price into the sheet, or I'll redistribute to one of the other piles where it actually should be and not my own stuff.
Do you think you'll get better naturally over time with the pricing side of things? Because my point, my thought process here is that you're going to be limited by how long it takes you to research. Say you get 125 items, right, and you've got those and they're in your research pile. Like I don't care how quick you are, it's going to take you some time, right? So at some point, is there going to be a point where you feel like you get better, where you don't need to look as much, or are you okay with? Because I know you are very respectable in your pricing that you give the customers. So is there a point where you'll go, oh, that's going to do about this, but if it goes for slightly more or slightly less, then you don't amend your price. You're like, oh, that's £35, they'll get this much, and you'll do it more off the understanding of it? Or because if you thought about like how long, because I just feel like that's going to be one of the points that takes the longest to get through.
Yeah, so you're 100% right? Like that is currently. So sorting it took a little bit to figure out how to get it going, and then if I do that at speed, the thing that slows it down the most is checking if it's got a mark on it or whatever, which is I've just got to do realistically. But yeah, pricing has taken the longest, but I've already gotten faster at it. So for example, the more I do it and the more I get the same sort of stuff in or similar stuff, even like for example stuff I don't know, like a lot of it's been stuff that I'm not familiar with, or stuff that I'm interested in trying out, right? Like, so I'm interested in looking at and being like, can I sell this? Does this work for what I want? And what would I price it at if that was the case? For example, 2 days ago, I sold a Frank Usher dress, sequins like all along it, and I was like, I don't know how much this will go for. It looked vintagey. It was like an evening type dress, and that sold instantly for 25 quid.
Vinted, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and I'm like, that sold instantly on Vinted for 25 quid. I'm like, okay, and I was like, how much am I going to price this for? What do I do here? And
when you say instantly, how was it instantly or
like literally within like a few hours, I think, like pretty much. And and stuff like that, right? Is figuring out and looking into that and assessing whether stuff is viable or not to get an understanding. Mum, do you think it's cheap for Frankasher? Frankasher has fallen to a terrible death in today's modern age, and it's nowhere near as popular as it used to be. But yeah, so that was interesting, right? But as I've got going, even like, Zara pieces, for example, I'm like, okay, what goes into the 15 to 20 pound mark, and what goes into the 20 to 25 pound mark, and what goes into the 30 pound mark, and making sure I'm on top of that. But that has now gotten pretty fast. Is how I now go through it.
So do you think you'll ever get to the point where you don't check it and you just go for a ballpark?
I think, for example, stuff like the LK Bennett jacket, right?
Yeah. So if you don't know it, then that makes sense. But like if you know the brand and you've like got a semi decent understanding, like is there a part where you just go, all right, that's 40?
Yeah, 100%. Like I like stuff. I'm already doing that with stuff that I know. Like for example, I've got a stack of M&S Cashmere jumpers. I know generally that they're going to be 25, 30 pound. Some of them are bobbly. So, and another thing to do is I'm going to price it the standard they come in at, right? Is another thing. But yeah, I know that they're all kind of about that, and I've got some mint velvet jumpers, and I got this, and I don't need to look them up. But I just know.
What do you think is your like next bottleneck in terms of like what do you think is going to be the problem if you start getting more stuff coming in now? What's your first issue, do you think? Because I've got it in my head, I know roughly what I would say.
It's hard to say right now because of like not doing it enough. Again, I think pricing is slow, but realistically, I can get it. Like those 46 items I pulled out that bundle yesterday, I can probably get that done in an hour and a half to like 2 hours, really, and if not faster. Like I should be able to go faster than that. But then aside from that, realistically, the bottleneck is kind of space, right? Because I'm looking at these bags, and if I do this consistently or I get more than that in, then that's going to be an issue. But aside from that, I think honestly, I don't know what the bottleneck will be. I think my instant thought was space, because you said like, I've got a pile for the car boot lady, I've got this pile, and ultimately they will always take up like a decent amount of space. And then car boot lady is probably coming once a week, maybe at the moment. Yeah, so at the moment she's coming consistently, but she said she can come like maybe one every 2 days if I need to, which is fine.
So then my next question is there any point setting up the thing next door if space does become an issue? You're gonna have to move anyway. So like, and how long do you think it's gonna take before you have to?
You know what I'm low-key praying on?
Cool.
I've got a guy in a poker hall that runs next to me, and he always complains he doesn't do the best. And like I feel like he's changed like 1 or 2 days a week or whatever. And in my head, I'm like, if I stay here long enough, at some point can I just buy that, and like then I just have all of that, because that's like another probably close to like that's way bigger than mine, which is so that's probably another close to 1,000 square foot or around that mark.
So you could have this as your office and then have that as the storage.
Yeah, or the other way around, like maybe I have storage and I break that, or one room. There's like 2 rooms in there, 1 room storage, 1 room office, or whatever, right? And then the other thing, like, and then hopefully, then maybe if the person above leaves, then I can have both. Maybe I never have to move is the answer.
Just get a whole complex of buildings in that little square.
But yeah, I mean, the setting up next door is month to month, right? So it's a rolling month to month, so I can
it's not so
any
bad.
time. And realistically, I'd need to get stuff. It would be much more efficient to get stuff delivered to like the front door of a warehouse than it would be to deliver to somewhere around there, bring a little trolley over, stack it all in, bring it all around. But yeah, I think realistically, in terms of bottlenecks, like space is going to be the number one. If I get the processes down, that should be fine, because even the different piles, right? So the donation pile, if the bag's full, I take it to the shop. If with the stuff I'm dispose of, I've got the bin outside, it goes straight in the bin, so they get cleared out straight away. So the thing that does take space is the car boot lady. And when I figure out how much stuff I'm going to get in from the car to move on to the car boot person, then I can know how many times I need it to come. And obviously we can work something out there. So right now, I actually feel okay. I know I need to, on my side, I need to pattern my processes up and make sure I get it down. and stick consistent with it. Like if I need to come in the morning, do my postage, grab the bags, process the bags is probably my first thing, and then make sure that is finished. Make sure the processing is finished, and then crack on with everything else. And as long as I stick to that and have it like finished in that side, then I should be fine, realistically, for at least a while. But man, it's been exciting. It's been so exciting. Like having those 12 bags turn up and I'm like a giddy little school kid, right? And especially if it goes disastrously and it's all terrible, then I'm probably very sad. Yeah. In terms of the fact that the stuff I've got in is working, and people are reaching out to me, people are setting up more stuff, people are setting up like more orders for me. It's been really, really interesting. And I think the other thing that I do know is at any point I can put on the accelerator, because I can just ask any of the people I work with, because they already have people that they want to introduce me to. But I'm like, hey, like I'm hand selecting right now, and I want to work with the people I want to work with. But at any point in time, I feel like I could just open up like the network a little bit, and a lot more could come in. But I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, right? But yeah, I mean, it's super exciting. And again, when I look and I think about like the end of the year, right? Obviously, this is completely down to me to grow it now, right? Like sourcing, I'd say now stops becoming a hindrance for me. I feel like that's something I've got sorted realistically with this. And yes, it's taken time. Yes, I've lost money for the last probably fucking 6 months, right? But not because I needed to, but because I chose to, realistically. Yeah. And like, yes, it's like to get business back up and running, it's taken time. But I've got it. I did it. Like in my head, I'm super excited because I did it. I did the thing. I've sorted sourcing as a clothing seller, but not just like by buying wholesale, by still being able to select what I want to sell, and pay a price that I want for it. And in my head, I'm like that. I feel very, very satisfied about that. I don't know. But yeah, it's super exciting, and I don't know what I'm going to be doing at the end of the year. Like,
do you miss any of the sourcing sites? Obviously, so one of the things you see from the top level resellers versus anybody that's been starting out like more recently or whatever is that, at least when I first started, right, it was always dopamine of finding the cool thing, and like that's how a lot of people get addicted to starting, right? And then as you go further,
they get addicted to buying,
and then as you go further and further up the scale of like what we would quote unquote say is like the top end of the resellers, a lot of those people don't source in the same way. So when it comes to actually sourcing now, do you feel like you're going to be like, obviously you get the dopamine and open the bags and stuff, but do you feel like you'll miss sourcing? Because obviously it is a big time chunk and solving that is the biggest issue. But like in terms of going to charity shops, I although I'm not a people person and I don't really like talking to people, getting out and walking around, like, which is why I love the car boot so much and stuff like that. Just there's a physical, like you get the dopamine, or there is a chemical you release when you do exercise or whatever it is, right? Like, yeah, something like that. So like, do you feel like you'll miss a lot of like all of that sort of side of it? Just even from a mental standpoint, right? Getting out in the fresh air, all this sort of stuff. Do you feel like you'll miss any of it? And obviously you still can go and do it, but if it's coming in strong for you, you might just not have time as well.
So do you know what's funny out of all the things that I feel like currently? So the two things that I feel, one is I feel bad, actually, not because I miss it, because I feel bad for almost leaving my charity shops behind after 2 years of building relationships with them, and then having all this stuff. Like I just feel bad about just now. I've talked to a lot of them now. Like I went around the thing and I said, I don't know if my goal is to not be here anymore. And again, I got a lot of their numbers and people, like, if they have stuff that they want to give to me and stuff, but even still, just like seeing them every week chatting. And sometimes I didn't feel like it, right? Like sometimes I walked in and I just didn't want to talk to anyone. And I kind of needed to, because, that's my role in that situation. But I feel bad about leaving them behind, low key. And all because they, again, you should have seen the face of these motherfuckers that they hadn't seen me in 5 months. They thought it was like I'd come back to life. I get literally, and I was like,
he has risen.
she looked like she was about to hug me and like start breaking and like crying because she thought I was gone. I was like, so, and like think about the people that care that much and are, you know, happy to see me or whatever. I feel bad that I'm like, well, yep, that's it. I'm kind of just done now. And obviously I need to move on to the next part and do the next thing at some point. But yeah, it'd be nice to go back every now and then just on that front. And even some of them, right, I went back and I still get sick stuff. Like there's still really, really good stuff to be had. Like really good stuff to be had. So I don't like it's super worthwhile going in the like small bursts. But yeah, so that's that. I don't think I'll miss necessarily walking around and having to go everywhere because to me it was just like what I did. And realistically, this will just turn into what I do. And realistically, I talk to people in the group all the time. And also in terms of exercise, I actually think moving these bags around is going to be more exercise than I've done for the most part of walking the charity shops. But funnily enough, the itch I have at the moment is a car boot. I don't know why. I don't know why, because I hate getting up early and I can't be asked. But I just I'm a little like, ooh, I wouldn't mind going to one just to have a little bit of fun.
Again, I use car boots a lot of the time, either trying to build like different relationships, but a lot of what I do with car boots is I'm just having fun. Like I'm trying to haggle. I'm just messing around. And again, yesterday, did I need to go to the car boot when I've got hundreds of items to deal with in the same niche? Like I've got hundreds of electronics to deal with. Did I need to go and get more? No. But was it fun? Yes. Did I enjoy it? Yes. Will I be back again Wednesday? Yes. Will I be back again Thursday? Yes. Like if you can have a small amount of fun, then yeah. And also me and Harry were talking and we're going to try and get to Dunton this year. So you're going to need to get your ass to Dunton as well, and we'll all just go
like 4 a.m. or something ridiculous.
No, so the last couple of times I've been there at like 5:30, and I'm telling you now, I've cleaned up there. Like I've made so much money from Dunton. I've only been like 4 times, and it is genuinely my best cut. Like it's so good. If I lived, like I said this on Instagram maybe like 2 years ago. If you live within an hour and a half of Dunton and you're not there every single week, you're doing it wrong. Like you're just doing it wrong. There is absolutely no reason not to be there, and you will make money. It is crazy there.
The one thing I would say about it, right, is sometimes I don't know if you feel this with car boots, is that especially massive ones, like you start hot, you start going, and then towards the end, you're just kind of like, you know, like. You kind of lose it and you're like, oh no, you got nothing, you got no off. I get towards the end of like, because I used to take so long to get round. Like I used to take like hours I get there at like 6:45 and I wouldn't leave till like 11:30. And it wasn't even that big, but I would be taking my sweet time getting around. And that
you need to speed up the process then.
I did in the end, but that's how I used to be. And then the same here. So, for example, when I was doing those 12 bags yesterday and I was sorting through that stuff, like I started off quite hot. And by the end, I was kind of like, oh, this is getting, I just hurry up. And I was running low on energy anyway, just because I felt like I was tired and hadn't eaten the best. But I was like, by the end of it, I was kind of like, oh, and I was thinking about, oh, if I need to do 30 of these a day or more, then this is going to be long. Like this is going to be a long process. And again, as I get faster out of it, it will get less impactful. But I think that is part of it, right? That will come, and just sitting there sorting through clothes will be not that fun, like realistically. And it will go from, you know, my pack openings to, like you said, you just get to the point where you feel no emotion. You're just like, okay, next bag, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good. And you just kind of like crack on like that. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, right? And that's business. Like I'll say this about everything. Like if you're having fun going to car boots, if you had to go to the car boot every single day for all the time, like I think regardless of who you are, I genuinely think it stops being fun at some point. I think most things in business stop being fun at some point. And I don't think it matters what it is that you do. Like even you take sports, right? When you take sports and you do training every day, and yeah, it might be fun and you might enjoy it, but at some point you're like, I'm doing this because this is what I do. Like I wake up, I go train, and yeah, I love the competitive like sport when I get to play it. But when I'm training every day, and I love the result, right? Like I love the fact that I do this every day means that I might have 1,000-pound days or whatever at some point. But when I'm doing the training and doing the work, like it's not designed to be the most fun thing in the world a lot of the time.
But imagine doing the same thing over and over again at a job, because you'd like it's So at least with this year, like I always think about like when I'm having a shit day or I'm like, oh, this is tough. I remember saying this maybe about 6 months ago, but I was going charity shopping around with my brother, right? And we went for breakfast at Chatwin's, like a nice little place. We're having some breakfast, and as we came in, I was yawning. I was like, I'm not feeling it today. I'm so tired. And there was guys coming in full high-vis gear, caped in tar, all that sort of shit. They'd been fixing the road, and they'd literally been working for 4 hours before I'd even got into a charity shop at like 9 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, let's just crack on with it, because there are people out there that are doing jobs that are way harder than what we're doing.
Listen to the thing. I don't have a problem with it being boring. Like I don't have a problem with it getting long. I don't have a problem with me not finding so much joy in it. Like my actual point is, I think no matter what you do, a lot of time, unless you really do have like some of the best jobs in the world, business specifically, there will be shit like this. There will be stuff that you go do it in the business where you don't care and you don't want to do it and it's not fun. And I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters what you're doing. If you're trying to build something and you're trying to do something, that's part of the process. And I'm not complaining. I'm not saying, I can't believe I have to do this today, blah, 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 blah. I'm just saying like that will happen. And like, that's okay. And you can look at the builders and the people that build the roads and all this sort of thing, right? And they're fucking hard working too. And they're cracking out what they need to do. Some of them might complain, but like realistically, they wake up every day to do it because that's how they earn their money, and that's how they achieve what they want to achieve. And I think that's how you should look at it all. I don't think you should expect to be having fun at all points in time, or like being buzzing to go to work. I just don't think it's realistic, in my opinion, anyway.
Right. Last question then. Saying all of that, what is two-part questions? Mm-hmm. What is the first thing that you would outsource if the person came in and immediately knew exactly what they were doing, and you could zap all of your knowledge into them?
Whoa, that's a fucking crazy question.
What is the first thing that you would you would just go like, nah, I'm not doing that anymore. You can do that. And number two, what is the thing that actually is the first thing that you'll outsource because it's probably the easiest or the most time consuming? Hey. So one, if they took all your knowledge, which one would it be? And one, if you've got to scratch them, like what's actually going to be the first one you outsource?
If they could just take that's actually a crazy question, because like obviously it makes such a big difference. I mean, realistically, the longest part would be sorting through the stuff now. Like realistically, that would right now I wouldn't outsource it because I'm enjoying it.
Yes.
Right now, like it's not hard whatsoever. And I think if they had all my knowledge,
Mum said depoppling.
The actual answer is processing. Like not processing, taking it out of the bags, processing it ready to. Well, actually, no, that's not if they had all my knowledge. Okay, actually, even if they had all my knowledge right now, I wouldn't give away that job because I like it at the moment. But in the future, realistically, I would give away the sorting through stuff.
So it's quite interesting because in my head, what I would do if I was you was maybe not right now, but I would outsource like the onboarding, so that you could get more people in whilst you focused on the other stuff. So you would be the process person, or vice versa. Quite interesting.
I 100% thought about this and like having closers and people that, because I actually think about bringing my friend in at some point. I was like, what role if I brought a friend in, could they have in the company? I was like, that is something I could teach them to do quite easily, as long as they have, like personal, like a good personality and stuff.
And also if they weren't doing that at any given time, you could get them to do the next one, which is the one that you should be outsourcing, which is
photographing.
It is genuinely the last bane of my existence.
Processing and photographing. So processing I actually hate the processing, like getting stuff ready to photograph. I haven't got a crazy amount of it, But like when it does happen, like when I've just got a little thing to deal with or like some steaming to do, it just is so annoying. Like I would love it all to just be done. I'd love the way a magic wand and everything's just perfectly de-wrinkled, not a mark on it, and I don't have to wipe anything. But realistically, I wouldn't do listing because I actually feel like listing's super easy now using Listing Monster, because I did my listing yesterday, right? It took me 10 minutes to do 10. Like it's taking me a minute of listing now, which is it is low-key banging for me.
James was ill, like for yesterday, and I did mine yesterday. Genuinely, I can't believe how easy it is now. It's insane.
So listing is no issue. Photographing isn't the worst thing in the world at the moment for me. Again, if everything was ready, I'd be super happy photographing because I can just crack on in the zone and listen to something in the background. But yeah, so I think realistically though, I will have someone come in this year I don't think I'll offload outreach onboarding yet because I'm still learning exactly how to do it right. And also I think having my face at the moment is good and making like personal connections with these people is doing me well. So I'd keep that for the moment, even though I want to control how many people I bring in. So that's kind of important. And then, yeah, outside of that, it would, if someone could zap my knowledge, it would be processing. And then the realistic answer is, sorting through close. And then the realistic answer is processing and photographing. That will be the first thing to go.
I'm intrigued actually by the comments and whether they took the second part of the question or the first part of the question, because somebody said photos, listings, debobbling, or cleaning trainers. But is that the first part of it? Because realistically, in my head, if somebody had all of my knowledge, I would just send them out sourcing. And I would then continue to source as well.
I mean, that basically is sourcing for me, right? Like,
yours is slightly different, but yeah, I would have them out there smashing it, like sourcing wise, and then I would just crack on. I don't know. And then photos is actually the one that I want to get rid of. I hate it so much.
I have no problem photographing. Like I feel like you can just sit in there and chill and listen to something, which reminds me to finish Shoe Dog, which I need to do. Nice, but sweet. So that's kind of where I'm at. I've still got a lot of things to sort out, and I'll probably bring some stuff to 50K Cool later as well. But yeah, it's exciting. Check us out at the end of the year. See what we've done. Maybe we've done absolutely nothing till that point, and we're just the same thing.
I'm gonna need to, so I cannot.
I need to as well. Like, so we will see. But thank you very much for coming in, everyone, and listening to us yap
Again.
And we will see you next week. Bye.